It asks you to allow Wendy to do it.
Huh?
It asks you to allow Wendy to do it. That's the, audit.
I haven't seen it yet. Usually I see that on my screen pop up or. All right. All right, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. We do have a quorum. Everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will make a motion for the approval of the agenda. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of the agenda approval signify with an eye. All opposed? Motion passes. I will make a motion for the approval of the board meeting motions minutes of April 15th, 2024. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of the,
I got one. That last item is off cycle one. I don't think we actually approved it last month. It was done. Off
that's the
cycle.
motions, okay. So on the motions, there's one on the very bottom that was an off cycle. Scratch that off of the motions. Everything else is good. Looks like. All right, minus the last line on the motions. All in favor signify with an eye. All opposed. Motion passes. All right, is Colin Rumpsa here? All right, he's gonna speak to you guys for a few minutes. He's running for the Jefferson County Sheriff, so it's all yours.
Sure. I'm gonna try and use my inside. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me here. And just tell you a little bit about me. I was in the Army for 4 years, 101st Airborne, then 8th Infantry. When I got out of the Army, I was a Boilermaker for 7.5 years. I knew that wasn't my calling in life. It was new police. And 97, I went to St. Louis Police Academy, graduated. I was a policeman for over 20 years up there. I graduated. Or I'm sorry, I retired from up there. I retired from up there after a lot of there's right after that I came out here to fantastic place. And how do I know this? Because in my 5 years out here, I only received one call, and it was just a small disturbance. People were having too good of a time, and we just had to say, dude, hang it down. Just take it down just a little bit. So again, I do appreciate the opportunity to speak. A couple things that I'm standing on as far as the sheriff. I don't believe that we need any more taxes. We just had a debate on Wednesday, last Wednesday, and the sheriff liked to call it a revenue strain. I called it what it was. It's more taxes. He wants more taxes next year. He's not going to do it this year because it's election year. But if you notice, there's a lot of new buildings going up this year. Okay, we got a new lab that's going up. We got a new police station that's going up. He calls that progress. Well, that should be 2-3 years down the road, especially the police station we didn't need. Okay, I'm going to explain that to you. We have a police station over on Windsor School District's campus, and they were leasing it to us for $100 a year, and they offered to renovate it for us. The sheriff said, well, I want this, I want that, I want a new workout station, I want weights, I want this. They said, hey, we can't justify that to our tax paying citizens. We can't do that. But we will, put new lighting, new flooring, paint, we'll do that. He said, nope, that's not good enough. So he takes his $3 million and he goes, signs a deal with, Rock Township Ambulance District to build a building onto their building. Problem with that is $3 million, and now he's still gonna pay rent on it. That doesn't make sense. Well, because I called him out on leaving the school high and dry, he has now changed his mind and said, oh, no, we're gonna keep somebody there. Well, a little too late, Dave. You already said you were gonna abandon it there. But because I called him out, he said, no, we're gonna leave somebody there, but now we're gonna renovate it. They were gonna renovate it for us, but now you're gonna renovate it because you know you screwed up, okay? Then, what is he doing? He's taking our money, your guys' money, and he's spending it up at St. Charles. How's he doing that? He's sending recruits, brand new recruits to their school up there. We have an A1 Academy here with Jefferson County. He's sending them up there to St. Charles. He's paying their tuition and he's paying them a salary. What's the problem with that? I'll tell you what that is. If they don't pass, all that money's gone. If they do pass and they graduate and they come out here and they decide they don't want to work here, but they want to go somewhere that pays more money, they can go. They'll say, well, I have this contract. That contract don't hold water. Okay. Any lawyer worth his time will tell you those don't hold up. He not only is doing that, but now he's spending money up in St. Charles again. He's got an investigation company up there that is doing background checks on the new recruits that he is gonna. We always do that. St. Louis always did their own. Jefferson County does their own. Arnold does their own. Everybody does their own. But for some reason, he's spending money up there. Again, I don't know what his fascination is with St. Charles County. Hey, I think they have enough money. You know, we're not St. Charles. We don't want to be St. Charles. We want to be us. I don't know how many people have driven through there, but it's a traffic disaster if you've ever been there. Jefferson County's not. I can get around Jefferson County just fine. No big traffic jams. 55 is a little bit of a mess from time to time. They're doing some things. Okay. 21, they're repaving it. It's beautiful. Ever since they did it. 30 could use some work, but for the most part, it's not bad. Our equipment that we buy, he won't go to Hillsborough, the 6th Tactical. He doesn't like the man. So we're spending money up in Brentwood. It's terrible. Why are we spending all of our money somewhere else when we should be keeping it here? Hey, I'm against that. I'm against taxes, spending money that we do have somewhere other than Jefferson County. The other big problem is the officer turnover rates. Within the last 2 years, I have a list of over 40 officers that have left. Now, he will tell you that's just the sign of the times. He says Fox School has lost, district has lost 13 teachers because they're chasing the money. Nurses are quitting left and right. It's just a sign of the times. No, it's not. The problem is you're not treating your deputies right. Okay, there's a big disparity between the people he likes, the way he treats them, and the rest of the department. 40 people in 2 years, that's almost 25% of our police force. I promise you, when I'm here, that's not gonna happen. You may say, well, why is that? Well, I was in the military. I know how to be a leader and I know how to treat people. They eat before I do. They get the good stuff I don't. You know, that's the way it is. There was a young man, 18 years on out here. He went to the sheriff. He said, I'm going to leave because I've been out here 18 years, never been to a specialized unit. I've never been promoted, even though I've taken the test several times. What can I do? The sheriff looks him in the eye and says, do better. That, I'm sorry, I'm not a politician. That's correct. Okay. Somebody comes to me and they want that, sir. Somebody comes to me and they say, Sheriff, you know, I've been here 18 years. I haven't been promoted. I haven't been to a specialized unit. What do I have to do? I'll say, son, have a seat. And we're going to talk about it. Now, this was brought up the other night too. And the sheriff says, well, I don't have time to talk to 250 people. No, But if one person comes up to you and asks you that question, they want to know that bad, I think you should tell them. You should take a little bit of your time, your precious time, and tell them what you think. Now, if they're abusing sick time, they're lazy, something like that, hey, that, I understand it, but this was a good officer. He's been here 18 years. Another thing that the sheriff will try and sell you on is that he had to build the new lab using ARPA funds. He couldn't use it for the jail. I called him out on that on Wednesday. And you know what? He had nothing to say. And the reason he had nothing to say is because I was telling the truth. I did my background on it. I said, these ARPA funds, I talked to several chiefs of police. I said, he's saying he can't use them. They said, it's the way it's in the proposal. It is written in the proposal. Okay, so that's $8 million we can't put into the jail that we so badly need. Okay? He's going to say next year, guys, you got to pass these taxes to our jail. It's in dire straits. Yeah, well, you let it get that way. You've been there 8 years. You've never touched it. They just got a grant for $180,000 for new cameras. Okay? Good for them. They can use them. I have no problems with it. So, guys, it really comes down to, you want to pay more taxes, you want to vote for my opponent. You want your money being spent somewhere else, you want my opponent. You want somebody who's going to come here and talk to you, take time. I give everybody my phone number that wants it. I will talk to you. I'm getting some good backing from some good groups because I talk to them and listen to them. And they're like, well, they always brush us off. I'm not going to do it. You have a legitimate complaint, call me, right? I have some cards that Wendy has. On the back is my webpage and my Facebook, Rumson for Sheriff. You guys want to know more about me? Like I said, I don't want to take too much of your time. You want to know more about me? Look on there. I do vlogs every couple of weeks. We'll be doing another one this week about the jail. They're not long. They're only like a minute long because before. Again, guys, I just want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope you just give me a thought. Thank you.
We should have made you sit through this meeting if you stuck and down, you're worth voting. All right, what's next? All right, appointment of an interim board member. So Kelly, you got 3 resumes, 4.
We have 4 resumes. We have 4 people applying or putting forth resumes for our opening for the board. And what I'd like to do is thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
I
much.
appreciate it. Like you to introduce yourself, say something about yourselves and what you could bring to the board and why we should vote for you. Okay, all right. So we have Dave Getty, and I know he's here. So go ahead, Dave.
I'm David Getty. I've lived in Raintree for 37 years. I've been before. On the Architecture Control Committee, I'm the chair of the committee. I'm still an inspector for the committee. I've worked with the Rules Committee. I'm chairman of the Rules Committee, and I think I can bring some other things to the board too, because I like working with people and I like working with the other board. It's some sort of good sense.
And Karen Beeman.
My name's Karen Beeman. I was on the board for a short period of time. I still work with the application of rubber, which the board put in place. I'd like to finish that project and have talks to you all. And I'm here to help wherever I can help. Thank you.
Okay. Jerry Jean Hicks. Oh, is she not here? Oh, okay. And then Joseph Keller. Oh, okay. So I guess we can still vote for them because they put in a resume, right?
What was the last name of that?
Joseph Kelly, Kellett. Do you want me to read what they said, or we can read it? I mean, Jerry Jean's background, she's been a resident since 1985. Previous full-term and interim board member, experience infrastructure, financials, rules, CRC, Special Infrastructure Committee for purchase of CC of the Country Club, and HOA board, and her goals are to build back emergency case reserves, use funds for necessary purchases only, prioritize spending, communicate why rules exist and why they are essential, and increase lakes and beaches security to reinforce safety rules. And then Joseph Kellett, I don't know if it's Kellett or Collette. For 5 years, he has been a Happy Rain Tree resident. He's concerned about the dams and roads. He's a licensed civil engineer, retired after 35 years with the Corps of Engineers that include heading the St. Louis office and being the chief engineer for Northwestern US. The Corps has hundreds of dams and roads in its inventory, so I have experience with the maintenance and costs. Happy to help. If you don't think, he would be a good one to call. Okay. All right, so I guess what we will do is you, on your piece of paper, write who you want to be in that position, and then I will tally them up. Then everybody else. Can I have a drum roll? Okay, our new board member is Dave Kelly.
Board, Dave. All right, Tanlin. They prefer, I think, you stand up here for.
Yeah, so you can be recorded.
In the hot seat right here. First of all, thank you for time and attention. Thank you for giving me your time and attention this evening. The idea that I want to propose is what's called CAP. It's the Community Association Platform. And I'd like to start off by saying that facts are our friends. And currently, as of 2023, there are 365,000 communities that are in an HOA association. And that number continues to increase with, new homes being built. So the question that I was thinking about is, what are these communities using? So if you do a simple search on Google HOA software, SaaS, platforms and things like that, you start deep diving into all the different technologies that are out there. And I think it's very, very exciting. I know that the board has already taken steps to digitize and do some, online processes. However, I would like to say that this could be a very time-intensive exercise and kind of tricky. And so I would propose that there are a group of us that want to help, because I know the board and the committees have a pretty heavy load right now. And so there's a group of people who have very business experience and technical expertise who are willing to step forward, and we would manage it as a project, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And what I've done here is, I know most of you have a copy of this, but you'll see right here, there's a very long list of features and self-service capabilities for these single solution platforms. And what I mean by that is, how you log in and you say your Ameren bill or whatever. So you would log in, you would be able to have access to many of these features, and you can go through, a lot of them. So you could even do surveys, and we could do secure voting at some point in time. There's a lot of things.
So what the goal is to do a side-by-side comparison and to basically gather all that information to document our current tech stack, what the business requirements are, operational requirements, also the user requirements. And we have all that, then that will all be documented, may be very useful for any future software purchases, who knows? But anyway, that would all be documented. And then we would pilot test it. I talked to a couple of providers and they have agreed that, you know, they would at least do a 30-day trial of the product. And we would involve, the key audiences would be stakeholders from the board, from the office, and then, you know, 10 or 15 residents who would use the product, try it out, provide the feedback. You know, board has different needs, office has different needs, we certainly do, right? And then you track that, submit it, you come up with a recommendation, and we hand it to you. And then you then have the facts, because facts are our friends. So I'm asking for approval. After that, we would have a project. We have a project outline. I've already started one. That could be accessible to all board members, anyone in the community. You can view it, you can track us. Can't edit anything. But you can see, and so I think that'll reduce any questions, any concerns, and if you want to add things like, hey, you know, this turns out to be more of a priority than we told you, so change that. So it would be a great platform of communication. Thank you. I think my 3 minutes. are up.
And I agree with you said about data. Data is a coin data cloud. So you said you would review all those things and then make the recommendation. Would your recommendation be, this is the one company, or would it be, here's the pros and cons of these different companies? Because while you know infinitely more about this stuff than I do, I would have to compare that stuff myself so that at least I thought I had made an intelligent vote.
So if you think of a funnel, so let's say you have 10 products, right?
Yeah,
And then you call that down. Okay, again, that is based on your requirements. What you and the community say, it's gotta do this, gotta do that. Some of this other stuff is kind of frivolous, you know, maybe it comes with it, but it's not that important. So what we would do is we would funnel it through, come down and say, okay, here are the 3 top products. Side by side comparison, okay? Pros and cons, cost, you know, what's their support like? I mean, you know, what are their service level agreements? I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. You know.
no, that's fine. That was my question. Would you give us just one recommendation, or would you say, hey, here's the companies we think that meet the needs, and here's a comparison?
So it's very possible that you could have 3 recommendations. You might say that.
Okay.
Kind of leans towards the users like this one better.
Right.
Maybe the office and the board say, yeah, but this one supports us better this way. I don't know. I think that's a very good question, but I think 3 would be.
Okay, that's fine.
Really-
Or, well, I don't think you should put a number on it. Just say, look at them all and say, yeah, these,
There's a lot.
this blank fits the needs we need, and the rest of these are not even, should be considered. And that's fine. I just wouldn't want you to say, here's what we recommend, and us have to vote on that without having the data on the competitors.
I think what'll happen is when you call it down and then you have just a few products and you use them, and you're gonna find, and I've already through very brief conversations, I've already started to say, oh yeah, it has all of it. Ooh, I have that.
That's cool.
That's not gonna, that might be a deal killer, you know?
No, you've answered my question.
So for Taylor, I just want to let you know, for us to vote on anything of something of that stature, we would need at least 3 bids, regardless of price. And you can recommend one over the other, but we need at least 3 competitive bids.
They get one little problem.
Right, and one question that I have, would the all-encompassing HOA software, could it replace Rever and City and Village and all in one?
That would have been my question.
It's possible that, yes, possible that we would actually enhance service capabilities and costs.
Yeah, well, I just had one question. These are the software, the links that you have on there. Are these the links to some of the software, like the presentation? I know you can't access the software, but we can learn more about those.
Right, these are just some guys. They-
Right, some of them.
Yeah, I just wanted to what's your appetite, because once you start going through those,
Well, there's 6 on here, so that's. a
yeah,
good way
you
to
go to some of them, and again, some of these will say, have to be careful because some of them will say they're for condoms, or they're for family communities and all that. And that some of them, though, they also have a specific community association piece. Okay, so that's why when you dig into it, make sure you go to that. Okay, and it'll just, all you have to do is start rifling through, you gotta go, okay, yeah, I get it, because a lot of them all same stuff.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Unfinished and new business, unfinished business, finalized ballot items. All right, so
That's some stuff. Hold on. That's not.
Did you take this long?
No, those are the other ones. Oh. All right, the first one, which was the change to covenant 4B. That is not completed with the attorney review. Ballot item 2, which was the change to the bylaws. Both of these revolve around the covenant is to make it in sync with the bylaw without repeating it verbatim. Bylaw 2 was the weighted vote, 2 for a home, 1 for a lot. Those are under the still under attorney review. Ballot item 3, which was that one with that.
Councilors, the opposite. To put it back to what it was.
That was 2. Hang on a second. Different way here. Give me a second. Got it. Got it. All right, ballot item 4 is the change to you must use the main entrances in and out of Raintree, and you can't cross the property boundaries with a driveway. Ted just made some minor verbiage changes to it, but nothing of any substance that happened in that. It still has everything. He just used some legal words in it that we didn't have. Ballot item 5, we're still working through, which is the all-in assessment.
We discussed or not?
Give me a second. Ballot item 6 is the change to covenant 2A regarding the bond for building a home in the road cut. He just had a couple legalese change words in that to put in, but everything was okay with that one as well. So items, let me get back to where I was here. All right, so 1 and 2 are still in legal review. 3's okay to proceed, 4's okay to proceed. 5 is, really with us and the community, and 6 is, okay to proceed with.
All right, Glenn, you wanted to talk about something?
Oh, just the all-in. You know, maybe it's too early. You know, I was a proponent of the all-in assessment and giving people no or yes, because we had the failure before with multiple choices. But after the town hall and feedback, I think we're gonna get a lot of pushback. We need to rethink. What can we do with
Rethink the entire thing or just
that? I just think the amount is, in terms of percentage increase, is shocking off for people. That's the feedback I'm getting, and I just throwing it out there.
Well, and
I was completely for the all-in, and I thought the community.
I'll voice what I heard too. I wasn't able to make the town hall, so I don't know that, but I think we all can agree that we need to come up with more money in order to maintain our community, whether it be the roads, security, the lakes. We have neglected them. We've been putting Band-Aids on that. I think John and Denny have done a wonderful job trying to get numbers together for the roads, and you did for security, what things we might could do and things like that. And I think the majority, I have not run across anybody that says, no, they're not for an increase. They know that we need to increase our assessments. The amount, I think, is shocking for a lot. And, you know, I think our community has changed in a lot of ways. We have the elderly, I like to say the golden years, people, and then we have a lot of new families coming in with small children and people who are on a fixed income versus the ones that just starting out, they struggle and stuff like that. And I think the all-in concept, they really like, not have to pay for boat stickers and things like that, and having a monthly number. But I think that number might need to be between 75 and 100. I think most people said 100 is like the top, but we could get into that. What can we do with $75 a month for everybody? If, you know, what does that make?
And I think we know we'll have to not do everything we want.
Right. And I think too, I mean, and another idea that was brought up by a property owner is that if, say, we did $75, that's everybody, lot owners and property owners, and it may get us right where we needed to be, around that 2.2 million a year if everybody paid 75, right? John, I mean,
You're
John.
looking at 900 a year.
Well, and you know, we had those lakes and the realtors did such a great job comparing, and what was the average? The average was $1,320. So even if we got to $100, that's $1,200. We're still below average of people of the size of our community, the size of the amenities that we have. I mean, I just think that if we can lower that and try to get close to that number, you guys are my number people. I'm just throwing it out there, but I think, like you said, we gotta pass it. If we don't pass it, and I think 150, there's a lot of pushback on it. But I think most people, $75, you think about that, that's going out to dinner one night a month.
You know, I just gonna say this, you know what? We put forth the proposal, did all the math behind it. People are throwing out another number with nothing behind it. So if it's 100, if it's 75, if it's 90, take the proposal that we had and put something behind it, because something's got to give. And, you know, I understand. It's like, you know what, I'm like anybody else. I don't want to pay a penny more than I have to, you know, and I'm gonna go kicking and screaming all the way. But, you know, what does 75 a month now look like? What does 100 a month now?
I got it. I did multiplication. All right, so, according to what we had 28 total billable lots. So if it was $75 for everyone, we'd have 500 and 200, I don't know, $2 million, right at $2 million. If everybody paid $100, you're at 2,673. So with that being said, I started looking at our little budget. This is what I did today. So, we said it'll take probably about $12 million to do our roads. 40 miles of road. That's probably a 6 to 10 year plan. Yeah, that's a 6 to 10 year plan.
No, it is a 10-year plan.
It is a 10-year, okay, my bad, okay. All right, so with that being,
12.
okay, that's 12 million, all right, but, and the lake treatment, approximately 1.5 to do all the lakes. Security was 150 for a guard and evening off hours, we could scratch that. I think a lot of people have said, yeah, we don't need that. 250 if we had 24/7, we could scratch that. 150 for upgrading the gates. I don't know what that all included with the upgraded gates. Was that
That would be
LPRs and stuff? Yeah.
Tire killer.
Yeah, so,
all sorts
so
of
that
things.
may, I mean, those kind of things we could come down
Yes.
on. It eliminates the COLA, and then what if, and then I had a flash, what if we just, this is something that we do for 10 years. This is a 10-year plan that is done for 10 years. You have a monthly installment of whatever we choose, and then we can reevaluate, because I feel the biggest problem we have as a Rain Tree Board is we turn over every year. There's no consistency in what one board comes in, thinks one thing, one board comes in, thinks another. So if we had this kind of whatever proposal, and we have it in writing that it's a 5 or 10 year plan, and you can't change it, you can, okay, you legally can't change that. Oh, yeah,
Changing what they did last year, the year before, I mean, it's not.
but, so even if you put it in that you would want this to be a 5-year plan,
It's not a
that-
blood oath.
it's not a blood oath. Where's
They
it?
get to a.
No, but I think that's the trust factor people want to
But
hear.
they change the concept.
It does have to be voted on majority.
But
vote.
the point would be to create some kind of stability that it's not gonna hopefully be changed in those years. So the money can accumulate the proper way, so everything gets done that's supposed to get done.
People see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and you just see that, you know, even if it's like a percentage of this is going towards our roads, no matter what, a percentage of this is going towards the lakes. And I know Kent's been looking into maybe we, you know, instead of an all-in kind of thing with the lake, we do it in bits and pieces. I mean, we may have to do that just because of our funds.
I think we all agree that we need more money, right, to run this place is, we're not gonna continue if we continue on this budget. It just won't last. So, and maybe $150 is too much. So rather than us guess another number, how can we determine what the sweet spot is? How do we find that out? Rather than us, let's not set ourselves up by failure by saying, well, these 7 or 8 people or the people that come to the meetings collectively feel here's the number. How do we find out what the acceptable number is?
Well, I can't answer the acceptable number, but I can answer the sweet spot. And that depends on how long you want to wait for the amenities to be repaired. $150 probably, if you're lucky, 10 years, because if we listen to what Dennis Alexander said and what John has facts on, 65% of asphalt went up since COVID. So what now costs $12 million may cost, like I said to him, $30 million. So the roads are a never ending cost. So whatever it takes to do $1 million, $1.5 million of roads a year, you got to have that as a minimum. That's every year. It's got to be spent on roads. And by doing the $75 or the 100 or whatever, 2 things that I look at about that is, one, the guy that wanted to pay $150 is now not getting his roads for 15 years replaced versus it might have been 7 or 8 or 9 or even 1 or 2. Not sure how we would segregate that, but The other thing I look at is, and I did a little survey of my own of people that are in here and people that don't even know anything about Raintree. And whoever wants to let Scott Clark know, it's got nothing to do with the $900 I pay a month in Florida. So I don't want to pay $150 either. But that's what it takes to do about a 10-year budget. But the people outside of Raintree contradict what people inside of Raintree are saying, because when you mention this to some, they come in here and they say $150 a month and they're looking at you like, huh? Now, granted, all of us that have been paying the $365 and the $205 for 13 or 14 years, we're thinking, whoa, $365 to $1,800, that seems like a lot. But I've heard numerous stories about what $150 is. Hell, I went to Miyabi last week, didn't have a drink and spent $71 without a tip. So, I mean, to me, $150 is nothing, whether you can afford it or not. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to find single income families trying to move to Raintree once any of this gets, whether it's 75 or 150. The key is you got to look at how long do we want to wait? And it seemed like we were willing to wait 13 years. So is that when we want to see all this repaired? My second part of that is everybody, including Scott Clark, has put the fear of God in everybody. Oh my God, don't do this. Vote no. Don't ever do this. Don't do. Well, we've seen how that went last time for him. The point of that is if people, lot owners, which is the majority, only didn't want to pay the $50, we're raising them and deducting homeowners, which is really their livelihood, which in some cases might think they should be. Some people may think that. I'm fine with $75. I didn't come up with the number. I just came up with what a stair-step mode was to both lot owners and homeowners. The one thing I will say that I think maybe we overstepped a little bit is 10 lots included in the price. So maybe we do something like you get 5 lots for that price and anything after is $200 a lot unless they're joined. So if you're smart, you take the 5 lots that aren't joined a part of the first bill, and then the ones that are joined, you pay the $200 for. Didn't take me long to think that one up either. Like I said, I don't care. I didn't come up with this as a 150-50. I just stair-stepped it up, and 150 and the 50 seemed to be about the 2 to 2.3 million. Based on the asphalt is absolutely 9.4 million to overlay every piece of asphalt in here. If there is underlayment needed, that whether it be grinding up the existing, bringing in new rock, compacting it, we figured about another $2.4 million to do 41 miles. If Dennis Alexander wants to jump on a committee and help us out get through this instead of being mad because he didn't get voted in over the accountant that was doing roads, I'm all welcoming him to be on this, because I sat there and got my ass chewed the other night by that. For the people that don't want the security guard, I'm going to introduce you to that woman that I spoke to last Thursday or Wednesday. When was it? Wednesday or Thursday? Rightfully so. I get her point. She had to turn in video of her cameras to the police department because the POA basically was handcuffed because it's not our property. I felt sorry for her. I felt bad for her, but I'm glad she's got her day in court. So that is a big issue. Security, whether it be roaming security. I got an email from a person that attended Saturday that said you're going to need an extra security guard because one guy's got to be in a guard check while one guy's roaming. Great idea. Everybody loved it. I guess when it was going on, when they were out here 20, 30 years ago. I am just trying to put together facts that I have gathered in the 7 years I've been here of what I think is most important to people and what I've seen on social media and what people have called and emailed and talked to me about drive-by. If I could get somebody to help me with my siding every time they stop by to ask me a question, I'd build a new house. But the board is not the bad guy here in the 150 or the 50. If 75 is the happy medium, be great. I can tell you anything changing to the numbers, even at those numbers at $2.3 million, probably doesn't get it done in 10 to 12 years because of inflation. I think somebody mentioned.
That's what we need. We just need let's just look at 75, 100, 125, 150 and see where it gets us in the timeline for For the
Yeah,
process.
So just being the devil's advocate, I agree with everything you said, Dave, but being the devil's advocate, I'd rather have 100% of something that passes versus 0% of 150 if everybody says, I mean, we learned that already, that if, and we only have elections once a year. So this, we need to come up with a number that's gonna pass, but will also fund the projects that are urgent and emergent and the wish list, the wants and needs. We need to figure that out, but I would urge us to come up with a number that will pass, no matter what.
A month ago, I said all in, waffling back to that.
one last thing I'd
Well, I
like,
think you're still in for all in.
No, I.
It's just what's the
Back to
number?
The feedback, I can't. Right, what you said with you.
one thing I'd like to add is the whole purpose of the $2.3 million was to strategically go Tannelin's been a big person to bring up about a strategic plan. So we came up with a strategic plan for 10 years. Granted, inflation is going to have a bearing on that. But my thought, and I don't know if I shared this with the board, maybe John or Tilly or a few of you, but my plan was to get to 150. If in 5 years, all of a sudden we got this nest egg just growing and growing and growing, then one of two things could happen. One of three things, really. We could put out another vote and say, hey, it's time to drop this from 150 to 75, and maybe the lots go to 25 or something like that. Or we could say, how about we pause this for a year? Or how about we pause it at a lower amount? Now, granted, is that some work for the office or a management company or a software company or whatever? Yes, because we got to change the billing cycle. But in some cases, it's a click of a couple buttons. In other cases, it's manual input. But I would much rather come to the community and say, hey, I appreciate wholeheartedly what you did at 150 for the last 5 years and 50 for the lots. We're on a great track and the inflation isn't what we thought it was going to be. Let's pause it and drop it to 100 or 75 or 50 or whatever for everybody for a year, maybe 2, maybe 3, who knows? Maybe in year 12, we're at the point where we can say, we still know we got to do $1.5 million of roads every year, but we also have done some cost saving measures with either software or office or whatever, that we don't have to be as aggressive as we have been to get to this point. We're basically trying to make up time for 13 years of absence. And to me, it makes more sense to me, because I think it was either Dennis Alexander or somebody else the other night said, you guys told us this was the all-in last time you'd ever need an assessment. And honest to God is my witness, strike me dead if I'm lying. I thought it was. I do think this is now, even if it's at the 75 for everybody, I think it is the last time you ever got to do an increase, because it's going to build, the ICF fund's going to build. You're going to get money in the bank account. We can go buy a car or a truck or a snowplow or a salter with cash instead of credit and giving that money away. So I do think in 10 to 12 years, this subdivision, hope I'm still living for that, but this subdivision at that point in time can get something like this passed. I think everybody's going to be happier in here. I know it's hard for the people that live here and really hard for the lot owners that only come out once in a blue moon. But I'm telling you, the people that don't live here, they don't think nothing of this. Tannelin, you wanted to add something?
The impact of additional assessments on the lot owners. And I went back and did a comparison on the website, it's linked to Jefferson County, of what happened when we increased our assessments and all the red dots of all the lots that, we stopped paying for assessments and it went to the county. That's one thing that has to be considered, because if I was a builder, I'd buy those up for in a heartbeat and develop on them. Okay, so what happens to our sewer system with additional homes? Are we at capacity now? Are there 900 homes? Okay, at what point in time do we have to say, stop? We are going to wait for DNR to come out and say you have E. coli in your legs. That's another piece of it. The other question I have is, when we were getting the EPA funds for our roads, they were paying us. Why? We were fixing the roads, so it hasn't been completely unrepaired for 13 years, correct?
No, we got 4 years worth of EPA repairs. But that was due to the lead contamination. And either people have refused to get it done, or the EPA has come to us and said, we're done, we fixed everything we could. Anybody that tries to sell their house that has lead in it, it's on them now.
During that period though, was that money then specifically used to repair roads?
Absolutely.
Okay, so not everything has to be completely paid.
Not true. Because let me explain that to you. Let me, those are your three questions, right? The first question, what was the first question again?
Sewer and also.
Okay, the sewer I was involved in very early on the board, and originally they told me it was well capacity, we had no problems. Then we had the spurt and we had all these homes coming in. I had heard a number somewhere between around 1,100 and 1,200 homes this subdivision could successfully handle the sewer system. There is also a plan that they're trying to work on to actually make the sewer system bigger. So as we grow, they are going to do their best to grow. It hasn't been shared with us yet. It's just well, I don't say hypothetical. How far into it are they, Denny?
Right now, they had submitted a request for funding from one of the government agencies. Okay, that is on hold right now.
Go figure.
But they did say that in some times of the year, especially these rainy seasons, the plant is above capacity. We have 800 houses in here now. We get up to 900 or 1,000. Somebody could come in and shut us down.
Yeah, and I was involved in one of them discussions, and the one guy that I talked to said that anytime anybody feels like they are actually monitoring the water and the water bills, because it's based on your sewer bill is based on your water bill, and they're trying to find out leaks in the water system. And they actually contacted me to look at mine because I was a new house and whatnot, and I had a question about a water bill. So they are actively monitoring that and trying to find leaks in the water system. So the amount of water going through the sewer plant isn't probably 100% accurate, because there are some freshwater leaks in here.
About leaks, okay, because when we lived in St. Charles County, with Fallon, got there and get slapped hard, because what's happening is that it's potable water. It is not, there's a process, it takes time, and the solids have to sink. And I'm just saying that you're flushing all of that through the system too fast. Why? That's when you get Cryptosporidium, E. coli, and all of that. So what I think we need to do is form another project team, quite frankly, to assess that. And people that have specific knowledge here would be extremely helpful to help us monitor that and keep our,
Well, they are very fluent with giving us information back and forth. It's the sewer district, it's the Jefferson County. I think the EPA is involved at some point. I mean, there's a lot of organizations involved. They're actually, at one point, I think it's on hold because of the funding, but they were going to take our maintenance area to build that sewer plant larger back there, and we were going to move them. They were going to pay to have our maintenance shed relocated. But I don't disagree with you about the water and solids and how you disperse it, but it's not really based off of the rainwater. It's more of, okay. I just want to make sure that we're.
Here, the comment that the gentleman made about the rainwater, that got over capacity, was that?
Denny?
Yes, that's what the people at the sewer district tell us, that periodically there's an overflow down at the plant. They take in too much water at one time, usually in these rainy seasons. The rainwater gets into our system and gets into the plant and it overflows. We're going to expand it down there.
Okay, and then we do have a number of homes that they're saying the capacity that can be built in here on the existing system.
It was a hypothetical, but they told me when, I think that's 330,000 gallons that can handle right now. There was talk about increasing it to 500, but we're between 800 and 1,200 homes that they're saying. And, it'd be no different than if we get to a point where we can't, the sewer system that's here or the lakes are too small or whatnot, they'll just put a moratorium on anything that's built in here like they did years ago.
we really don't want to get close to that capacity either. So I think that goes back to the lots going back to the county. They're so inexpensive for builders to buy. And we're gonna wind up with a lot more building in here, which is gonna get it to that point pretty often. That first time that we redid this, what was the cost on it? It was pretty expensive, wasn't it?
The cost on,
Redoing the sewer.
I wasn't here then. Yeah, I wasn't here when that happened.
You know, the builders are not allowed to build spec homes in here. They need to have a buyer and a deal to build a house in here. So if they buy the lots, they need to have a sold home before they should be allowed to build.
They haven't had any problems here.
Slowing down though, the month of May. Is Kim here? No, she's not here, but Kim informed me the other day that this was the slowest May that they've had before COVID. Not that that's an indication of how things are go, but usually May is a big, real estate month because of kids getting out of school and people moving in the summer. I will tell you that the country club fees have kind of ixnayed a bunch of builders buying up 10, 15, 20 lots because they got to pay that country club fee. So, and with our assessments going up, that, deters them even more. They might buy one or two, but I don't think you're going to see them come in here and buy a ton. And then right out of the gate, they owe
We're talking about $500 additional cost between the two or $600. Builders aren't going to care about that.
no, but if you buy 10 lots, that's,
On the lots there, the homes bar,
I don't disagree. And a guy back 15, 20 years ago did a study on Raintree, and I think he came up with a number and said, Raintree cannot handle 3,400 homes out here. Some of these lots are non-buildable. They're just a shared lot with another one. Our goal was when we were getting these lots available was for people to join them at a reduced amount. So we put another, I think 47% on additional lots that you would join. So that really helped. I mean, according to your numbers, David dropped about 200 homes out of the county ownership. So if you got a house and you want a little extra property right now, as of now, today, you can add that lot for minimal money to the county and you get 47% off of it from the POA. Now, if you join it, Country Club doesn't get any extra money. I don't think I answered your third question because I got too wordy and forgot what it was. Tantalin? Oh, I do want to answer that because the EPA came in here and they replaced the roads because they were heavy trucks on them and trashing them a lot. And I can tell you for absolute truth, my road got replaced 3 times in the first 4 years that I was there. And it's because most of the building and most of the remediation, I guess, Denny, was around the lakes because they were up and down my road constantly. And when you get $300,000 or $400,000 to fix the, 5 miles of roads they tell you it's going to take, they're replacing the same roads that they're driving over year after year after year. So although we got over $1 million to replace the roads, a lot of them were replaced the same time or over and over because of the same trucks going over the same areas. So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
You brought up the country club. I hope this conversation about the lawsuit that's going on. I don't know a lot about it, other than there's a lot of bad feelings apparently by the residents. Maybe a lot of misunderstanding about what actually has happened. I think that's some of the pushback that you're getting from the residents about things. How can this be explained to people who don't understand what happened or what did happen? Is to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lawsuit and lose, and they have to join the country club, which many people don't use. That seems to be an obstacle to any kind of.
Yeah, I can give you the 20,000 foot view, otherwise,
Is there a way to communicate that to entire communities? People like us, we don't know what this is before we move to.
well, we can put something out on our website, but that's been done over and over and over. But real quick, the 20,000 foot view, the original bylaws were written. There was different owners involved, different developers involved. They went back and forth between the restaurant, the golf course, and the POA, which didn't exist at that time, so the money was fluid. Yes, absolutely. Although it's an issue, but I don't think there is one because it's done, settled, water under the bridge. Yes.
They may not like it, but that is solved.
But
It's been a
also,
source.
so still have some pushback.
That's right. They have, there's pushbacks because they didn't want to pay. And at the time, the owners of the country club wasn't making them pay. Now we've got a new owner. He wants people to pay because it's in the covenants.
How do you communicate?
Well,
Well, let me say one thing to that. I've seen a couple complaints and we were at I think before the meeting that we had was it Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday, okay. Getting old, I'm forgetting and whatnot. I will say that somebody was mentioned that, how about giving us some money back from the country club fees? That is an uneducated person of the lawsuit because they don't even know who's in charge of that. We had no control over that. It was in the bylaws. It was ignored, not eliminated. It was ignored and pat my back, I pat your back type of thing. And then different owners, different developers, the POA owns everything. Country club owns their section. And it was just a constant battle. And then technically it wasn't so much on the residents or property owners as it was a couple judges that made some mistakes in error that in what we found out through the court system. But
So I think your answer is, James said it was in the original covenant. And people bought in here and they understood that they had to pay a country club. They understood it, or they should understand it. The fact that the country club didn't, enforce it was their decision. It wasn't the property owner's decision.
that's right.
Yes.
and when I say Glenn says didn't enforce it, it was because the owner of that country club, they were back and forth, between the country club, the golf course and the restaurant, whatever needed the money, they were sharing it between them. And the one owner of the restaurant, I guess, was buddies with the developers and they just didn't have to pay any. Well, that's why we can't do anything about it because they were allowed to ignore the covenants or the bylaws, whereas we now cannot, and the owner rightfully so won't allow it. Yeah, that I don't know what.
There's a lot of, if you don't mind, there's a lot of people in here that were here a long time ago that didn't have to pay, that are still a little butt. And they're gonna stir up trouble and push lines out there.
Did we sue somebody?
It went back and forth. We could send the covenants and the settlement in a digital form, but then people would come up here to ask them to print it. Deb.
How do you put to rest some of those questions? And I don't know if we could do a Q&A on the frequently asked questions to directly address some of these misconceptions, and people are just throwing things out just to make trouble. They know they're not true. They love to get people stirred up and confused and muddy the water. So maybe a Q&A, more Q&A and more.
Yeah, we can look into that.
Interestingly enough, folks, on these single platform solutions, some of these, they have a community social network, which would be private, would be maintained, that's an option. Also, you can put chat bots onto, the website or on this, go into the chat box. What that means is somebody can type in a question. What's with the Raintree lawsuit? Okay, and then it would automatically, put a link in there to the document and say, read the court order. I'm just saying there are tools out there
that will be automated in the future to self-serve that stuff up and would take that off.
I'm okay if it's AI, but if you think one of the 9 of us are gonna answer those questions, I'm all for it. This isn't actually me. This is an AI version of me.
I heard that the POA board is suing. I mean. Why you guys so much? Yeah, no. Oh, I mean.
Do we get to choose a side as a board member? We have to have some personalities.
So for anybody that doesn't know, I don't care how disgruntled you are, if you file a lawsuit, you're filing it against yourself. I know it sucks, but there's better ways to figure it out of common sense and sitting down and having a adult conversation.
I'm just like Ted. I'm new. I agree with what he said. I was new and we had no idea. We've heard so many different iterations of what the lawsuit was. Who
That's
sued
not
who,
true.
what-
Bonnie called me all the time.
We've heard so many different iterations, but my understanding, unless somebody decides to bring it up again, it's water under the bridge. Let's move on. That happened
I
then.
think we need to explain to the community, they think it's a big waste of money.
700,000.
Well, I think
Exactly, but we need to explain why it wasn't, that we really had no choice.
I'm gonna get AI on our website tomorrow. I guarantee it. It'll be there.
This is not a bad idea to come up with an explanation of what really took place over.
We didn't want to spend something.
But how are-
Or whatever, and kind of explain it and then try to put this behind us.
But Kent, how do you validate that? Because I'm told one thing by one person, somebody else will tell me that that couldn't be further from the truth.
AI doesn't lie.
What I'm saying is the community, there's people out there in the community that say that is not at all the way it happened. And I've just had to move on because I wasn't here. I don't know.
When the whole thing was going down, there was a really good, long, long explanation, as
History and everything of the whole ordeal. I mean, all you have to do is copy and paste that.
Hey,
I mean, honestly, if anybody wants to know, we could put a link to the country club website. He's got it detailed line by line, word by word, period by period of how it went down over, since 2012.
We just have to, bring it to.
I'm not being-
Conclusion.
I'm not gonna be cynical or anything, but we try to put things out. And we still have, like, it's on the website and they ask the questions or whatever's going on. They don't check websites. They don't read the e-newsletter. I mean, what else can we do except maybe stand out there and say, this is what happened with little signs every time somebody comes in or something. I mean, we're trying, but people's got to open up their emails. They've got to be on the email list. They've got to use the website. We're working on getting that website user-friendly where you can get all the committee reports and all that kind of stuff. So, getting people to do that is huge.
Hey, come on, who's got a laptop and gonna beat me to the AI explanation? Yes, sir.
So there was a number. What was that number, ma'am?
Oh,
Actually, does that include dredging or the?
well,
For dredging?
what I used, that was a budget thing that we had a presentation from Clean Flow where they would do the aeration, and Kent can tell you more about that probably in his
So we
report.
spend about $60,000 a year on chemicals right now to treat the water. We also spend money on the beach and we spend money on some other things, but the lion's share of the money spent by lakes and beaches is to treat the water. And rather than continue to dump toxic chemicals into our water and hopefully to regain a healthy environment, we're looking at other sources to take care of these long-term issues. And I'm not going to say they've been neglected. It's just lakes age, just like roads do. They just age, and it's time we do something about it. And we're talking easily north of $1 million to take care of all of it. Now, we're fortunate that we have 4 lakes, so maybe we can look at them sequentially rather than all at once, but
As far as
it's,
consider dredging
Well-
also?
I don't think we can mechanically dredge them to start with. We're looking at bio dredging. Yes, dredging is true, but not mechanical dredging because our sewers are right underneath of our lake and there's caves underneath there. Plus, who knows what's in that muck? I don't think we want to know if we get it, if we take it out of there, we got to get it tested. If it has lead in it, like the ground did, it's ours. We're stuck with it and we're going to have to build some kind of, there's so many moving parts to this. I wish I could, I don't even know. There's things I haven't even learned about yet, that we have to consider before we just move forward and dredge it. But we have to do something about our lakes. Without our lakes, you know, what are we? We're 20 or 800 houses, 5 miles from a town of 2,800 people. You know, I mean, this is like an insurance policy, actually. I mean, if your home is worth X dollars and you have to spend whatever we come up with as an assessment to maintain the value of your home. I mean, I'm gonna live here forever, or I hope to live here forever. So, you know, but still I want my home value to maintain itself. So for me, it's an insurance policy, but it's an expensive one. If, of course, if you spread it over 800 or 1,000 homes, you know, the price is a little more palatable. But we have, I think everybody's in agreement. We have to do something. We just have to find a number that will pass, but also take care of our needs. And we can talk about wants later, but we have to take care of our needs for sure. And that means roads, lakes, etc. I'm sorry if that, I don't know if I answered your question, but
Hang on one second. To the gentleman here, indulge me for a second. Dear members and community, we are reaching out to provide an update on the recent developments regarding the Raintree Plantation. As many of you are aware, a lawsuit had been filed involving the country club, which had been a matter of concern within our community. We are pleased to announce that after careful negotiations, a settlement has been reached. This resolution comes in the form of a declaratory judgment that upholds the integrity of our beloved golf course and ensures its continued operation for members' enjoyment. We understand that this situation may have caused some uncertainty, but want to assure you that Raintree Plantation remains committed to providing an exceptional environment for all our members. We thank you, your patience, your support through this process, and look forward to moving ahead to strengthen spirit and camaraderie and community engagement. That was a short version. I can do medium or long.
problem is people,
Tantalin, AI for you, baby.
there are people who are gonna say, yeah, I lived here the whole time and that's not the way it went down. And I don't know, there's no way really to, I don't know what you do about that. There's some people that are not gonna be happy with any answer you give them. They aren't, I've talked to them. Right,
Yes,
so
sir.
I agree with you, 100%.
What we're talking about is whole district. So what we need to concentrate on is on the roads. Now, I'm for 150 a month. But that being said, I don't take 75 or 100 to fix it.
Not in the time frame that I initially allotted.
We need to concentrate on roads and the lakes and not this other stuff that's all in the past. So have the board ever considered about, maybe we can't afford asphalt roads? You know, we're talking about Champagne Taste and we only got enough to buy beer. Now, maybe we need to convert some of the roads back to chip and seal. Now, when I moved here in the 90s, Easy Street was just chipping, I think it was just a chip and seal. So maybe we need to take some of the side roads, keep the main roads, concrete, round vista, asphalt, but some of the other ones, maybe we need to convert them to take out the asphalt. But I don't think without the 150 a month or more, we're not going to go afford it. But you guys can try to get 100 or 75, it's not going to be enough.
My concern is getting it passed. I mean, getting it passed. I mean, we can say 150 and that's what we need, but I'm getting pushed back on the 150.
We gotta get something passed.
We need to spend less. Take some of the asphalt, just convert back to gravel, road back to gravel. Chip it, some of the road that.
Well, what would those people
How do we
look like?
How do we decide which
Right.
roads?
I was gonna say,
Since we're on this, Linda and Laura were diligent in doing these town halls along with the team member and my resume coming. They were very diligent about setting up these town halls, and we're considering doing future ones. And I think it's not just about telling people, hey, you owe us money, we're gonna do this, because the story I'm hearing is they don't trust us, they don't think where the money's gonna be spent. Maybe if you get a software company to run this place, that it's the board just approving things that, you know, if we say we want 100,000 for a Mickey Mouse party, they're gonna look at us and like say, oh, well, you know, you're not gonna get your roads done this year. So maybe that's, oh, sorry, Linda. She got a Mickey Mouse shirt on. But I would like, if you don't mind for a minute or two, is just kind of give us the tally of how the meetings went of far against, too much, not enough. The temperature of the meetings.
Thank you. Someone's on.
This is important. I don't mind giving 4 minutes.
We had fine. Probably had about 80 people. Saturday, we had 40 people on the list, and we're pretty sure everybody signed in. Not everybody stayed till the end. We had a questionnaire that they could start completing when they came in, asked them to wait till the end to do the back half after they heard the presentation. Our theme was past, present, and future, with the intention of sharing financial status from 2003, 2012, and 2023, skipping 10 years, comparing 9 categories of information, apples to apples each time, and showing where we were, you know, in comparison. Then we jumped to the present, where we applied the 5% increase that passed a while ago. This is what it looks like to get this 5%. We're not there yet, but by the time we finish with the 5 years at 5%, it came out to a net of $158,000. That's all we're gonna gain with that 5% over 5 years, and $158,000 is really nothing, because we also had a road repair sign of the 2024 spots that they've identified that they're going to work on, which came out to $75,000 with 4 spots and some work on that dam.
Yeah, spot fixes too.
Yeah, that's totally, oh my gosh, yeah, totally spot fixes, not anything long-term, just good enough because they were emergency. So, you know, this year we're gonna spend almost half of this 158 we're supposed to be collecting over 5 years. There's just no way. There's just no way the current plan is gonna work. So then we skip to the future with high level potential. If we got the 150 and the 50, this is what we would bring in, assuming everyone paid, because that's a big assumption that everybody pays, and how it would be spent high level. What I did not say at those 2 meetings, which I totally regret, was that more detail is to come, because I think some people left thinking, well, I don't have all my questions answered. I still don't understand what's going on. And I didn't clarify that enough, like in the high level, more is to come. These guys know the numbers. And I specifically asked Dave, don't give us the numbers, because we already knew what numbers we were going through, and we knew it would be number overload, which it was, but we step by step. And I think a lot of people were like amazed about our financial state, how much money we spend here and how much money we spend here. And now I just recently sent out the pictures of the roads and the dollar amount on the Braintree Facebook. And people are commenting, you know, they're seeing the picture and, oh my gosh, this is this much, you know, it's an awareness. And that was what we were trying to do, is awareness of what happened, where we are, and you know, what we hope to do and why we need the money, because we don't have it. So.
Is anybody out there that didn't make Wednesday or Thursday, was it Saturday? Yeah, so just you're the only one that didn't make it. Is there any way you can get that to us and we'll put it on the website, or is it already in progress? The videos.
We're trying to
cut the part where I got yelled at.
We're trying to merge the best of.
Okay.
Enough of the meat
meat of those. People got up and asked questions, people got up and gave their thoughts, which we both wanted and allowed. We want to get all that together so that we can condense this 2-hour meeting into an hour, hopefully, with handouts. People can follow along at home. We've built a Facebook group that we're inviting people in to ask questions, to give their thoughts, to continue the discussion. We've already asked the board, can we do maybe even a town hall that focuses on finances and explaining the numbers, because that became clear that a lot of people don't think that the numbers are telling the right information. So and it was tough as we worked on the numbers. It's a cruel method and it's crazy. So, and here's the other thing I will say, and I hear all the feedback and that's all wonderful. We just opened the door. This was only promoted a month ago. And some people thought, it was funny, I thought, some people on Facebook is what? They're voting on Wednesday night? How come we didn't hear about it? And it's like, okay, if you didn't read an email, or like you said, so some people's like, okay, folks, we just have to start from the beginning and baby step our way through this information, because it is sticker shock. And we said that at the meetings. We get it. It is sticker shock. But let's show where we are. Let's show where the current plan is not going to cut it. And that's where we are. And so we do want feedback, and we promised the community we would provide that feedback to the board for consideration, like Glenn is saying, maybe, and Tilly, maybe it's a different number, but what that number is, who knows? And like you said, just got to go through the calculation out, whatever, to get through to understand.
Well, and I appreciate all that. I think it really boils down to what John said early on. We could have left it at that, but we can't entertain a position of, I can't afford it, because that's not looking out for everybody. But if you can come up with a valid reason and a valid design, bring it to us, because this was just brought based on numbers and 10-year plan. And
so one thing I wanted to add, because I was the one that was collecting the questionnaires back, so I got an opportunity to flip through them. And I've also went through all of the different posts on all the different social medias and everything. I started a frequently asked questions list that we will be providing to the board. There are knowledgeable people in certain areas like roads or finances or what have you, that are making recommendations. Hey, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? So all of that information will also get passed on to the board.
okay, because as of right now, nobody has brought us an option other than, I don't want to pay 150 or 50. So I appreciate everybody attending the town halls again. There's probably going to be at least one more in June, and maybe more than that if we can keep it up. But my hat's off to Linda and her team. I know Joe's here. Who is anybody else here? Yeah. Anybody?
Randy doesn't want to be.
He don't raise- he
Please
didn't
don't
raise his hand.
recognize me.
Sure.
So it's a project team that I had asked the board, can I gather some people together to digest this information? So we can understand it versus share it. So on the team was me and Mike and Laura and Randy and his wife Sherry, Joe Heddle, if you're here, Martin Toma, Kim Seabaugh, Danielle Bentley, Tom Scanlon.
Derek Fryer.
And Derek Fryer. 11 of us.
And not everybody on the team is far the 150, so that's not good thing to know.
I just looked at one.
Sure.
I just looked at the real property tax schedule for Jefferson County in 2023. If you lived in the city limits of Hillsborough, you paid 4,915 10,000ths of a percentage point in real property tax. On a $350,000 house, that's $1,720.25.
That we don't pay.
Which we don't get.
Which we don't pay.
So.
And they get.
You still pay it.
roads And they get all
But
that stuff.
they get new roads and.
Right, but we don't pay it, so
Whether
if we
they
expect
expect
it
it.
it would be equivalent.
17 and a half.
That's a hell of a point.
I just looked up the tax, and that's just city of Hillsborough, real property tax. If you live in the city, you live outside the city, you can pay it.
We have the same population as Hillsborough too.
they're getting the same thing, roads, security, all the other
We're not
stuff.
asking for more, we're
It's
asking.
identical. And you.
We are the tax base.
You're actually paying 500 now anyway.
Right.
So reduce that, it's the same. And that's on a free, again, houses are assessed with the, just wanted to. point that out.
That's a good way to sell it.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
That's a comparison that needs to be out there, like Ted said.
That's about- we just-
And Cameron, if I could address the piece with the lot. Yes, we've talked about it a lot. One of the reasons why we did not go with everybody pay the same amount is the lion's share of the assessment then goes to the lot owners. And it is much easier to leave your lot than it is a home on it.
Away from it.
The laws in Missouri and several other states, 6 years of unpaid taxes, the county trustee takes it back. Where we sit today, we really have limited options of pursuing collections without fronting more money than they owe us. And even if you win the judgment, there's no guarantee that you're going to collect that judgment either. So, at what point when we're already, can't do everything this community needs, do you make the decision of throwing, good money after bad money to continue to chase them? Now, if that number became higher, you now could pay for more attorney and legal services and credit reporting agencies and all different kinds of tools. Today, we got a late fee, which is only 1%. And tell me somewhere, if you pay your credit card late, you think you're paying 1% a month? Heck no. So there's a ballot item to change it to 2. But the other thing that we have is we this year chose to put liens on all of the properties that were delinquent, that didn't pay us. That still represented over $7,000 worth of expense. If any of those properties end up going to the county for 6 years of unpaid taxes, that money we paid to have the lien put on it was gone. We're not going to collect it back. So, there are other tools out there, but they all cost more money than the $230 a year that a lot owner pays. Yep.
Our 365,000 homeowner association, my question would be, how are some of these other communities doing it? I think it would be worthwhile if somebody wants to make friends with a couple of larger communities and take some of our angst and say, how are you solving this problem? And they might say, well, here's what we're doing. I think, the knowledge could be out there. If we search for it, surely these problems are being addressed by other communities. What are they doing? We can get through conversation.
Anybody else about ballot item number, what was it, 2, 5? All right. So tomorrow morning, when they call me, blame me, Glenn, I'm telling them to call you. All right.
I think, Dave, just to close it, if we're gonna look at a different amount, somebody out there needs to, on paper, present us the same thing that was presented, but what changes the spend or what changes the timeline to it? Because, all right, we've heard 100, we've heard 75, we've heard a comfort zone, but we've not seen anything behind that plan. The only plan that's out there is the 150 and the timeline and the dollar spend behind it. So what does a different plan look like? You need to put it on paper and submit.
Yeah, so instead of 10 years, it's gonna be 15.
Probably.
Yeah.
Could be, or, yeah.
Instead, it's gonna be 20.
If somebody might want to take something out of it, I don't know what that means. All I know is, I can simply do it. If you want to say, just do the same thing and extend it longer, that we could do, but.
Tom, you wanted to say something?
How many lots do we receive payment from? How many?
This past year,
There's 200. Hang on, I got it in my report. As of the end of April, there's 234 delinquent owners.
That's the length, how many actually pay? How many should we count on?
That'd be about 2,200. That sound right? No, that is 1,200, I'm sorry.
Average that out. So how many would you really get paid?
1,200, somewhere in that neighborhood. Right?
Well, if you wanna know what 75
2,100,
That would be with homes as well, right?
everything.
2,100 total, but about 1,200 individual lots. Correct?
And 12 of the delinquencies were mostly.
You could average,
Yeah, there's
but how
less
many-
than 20
how many-
homes.
when we send a bill out, how many bills we send out, and he said 208 didn't pay?
1,200 and 200 didn't pay.
I heard 21.
Total.
That's homeowners included. Most of the
Total
homeowners-
Oh, yeah, I'm not, I'm sorry, that's the
Yeah.
total bill,
Oh, that's different, yeah.
2,100.
21, almost 2,200.
The average,
Right.
what, the average payment is times 75 or 100, or whatever you figure it out.
But we're,
make them all the same.
yeah,
Basically.
so let's just say 200 times 75 or 200. Are you seeing what we'll be losing?
No, no,
Oh,
What?
the same,
If I wanted to know what 75.
what the new denominator.
about $1 million, about $1 million from the lots. Well, you got another. Well, the total that we got was around $2.3 million of assessments per year. These are all just quotes, they're not real numbers yet, but 1.5 million was told to us of a similar subdivision to do the lake treatment. So we think that's gonna come back less than that. So the goal was to take either a 5-year plan, which they will allow us to pay on a 5-year plan with interest payments, or we could take a chunk of the money from the first year of the new assessment and a chunk of the money from the second year of the assessment, pay that lake off altogether, that situation. Then you just have the maintenance behind it every year of 100 or 125, I think it was. And then you get to aim more of that money, the third and fourth and through 10 or 12 years towards the roads. Noting that the roads are never going to be fixed. Like John said, once you get to year 10 or 12, they're probably going to be more than just a pothole that you got to fix. It's going to probably be a total remediation. Now, since we have done the base correctly, all you're doing is overlaying it now. At current price is $230,000 a mile. So we took the 9.6 million for overlaying every road, took another 2.4 million for underlayment and grinding and whatnot, just a ballpark price of what the labor cost would be. If I think 30 or 40% of the roads, or no, I think we did 70% of the roads needed the 7 inches of compaction. That came out to $12 million plus the 1.5 plus the 250 a year for security guards plus 35 for the between 35,000 for the cameras and I think it was 4,000 or 5,000 for flock or something. All that totaling divided by the amount of years in the lots and the property owners was where we came up with the 150 and 50.
Give them the formula.
Was 750? 750,000?
Not quite.
For what?
Our budget,
Overall, I think you say overall budget.
overall is 750,000.
I think it was less than that, but go ahead with your.
But again, that's not addressing any issue.
So we go from $400 a year to $900 a year, and that's only gonna get us $300,000 to rebuild it. You understand the math ain't working.
I'm not following that.
It's a double, let's just double the assessment. What's that got us?
Why-
So another 400 times our 2,000 payers. Not that we're gonna charge lots the same, but
So
roughly
800,000.
hold 100, what does a lot pay right now?
Oh,
250?
237. It should come-
37. So right now you're getting $284,000 off of the lots.
Sorry. I said a lot, I apologize.
I think they meant all.
I'm saying it's total revenue, total revenue last year. Was it 700,000?
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, 700,000. Now you're saying that going from me, $400 to $900 a year, it's only gonna give me $300,000.
Where's the 900 coming
He's
from?
just saying, if we just double our assessment, let's just double the house assessment, double the lot assessment.
You said it was $900. So if we go to $75, so I'm going from 400 to 900. The total budget is only gonna see $300,000.
No, it's gonna see a lot.
I'm sorry, the math is just confusing.
No, it'll
It's gonna do a lot more.
It'll double the revenue.
It will double, more than double.
So I only,
At $900 across the whole, well, off the top of my head, I know.
1.962 million.
That was 22, 20, with the new all-in model.
800 times.
I did 21.
800 homes times the 9.
22,
1,200
28.
times the.
Not if they're all 75.
It's two, if everybody is $900, and if everybody, Tom, if everybody's $900.
Hang on a minute.
But if everybody is $900, home lot, doesn't matter, the all-in model, it's $2,005,200,
What number is that based off of? 21, 20?
22, 28. In the
I agree with that
in the
number.
all assessment model that we built, it's 22, 28 is what we came up
Okay,
with.
that would be at the 75. So if,
But that's again, that's leveling it across everybody. The bulk of that, right, the bulk of that money, if you do that, the bulk of that assessment falls in the lot owners. If the lot owners choose not to pay and walk away, yeah, we have more money that we could have other collection avenues against them. But the homeowners are only gonna see a couple, you're only gonna see a couple $100,000.
right, we
more.
don't right now. We're 200 under what we need to get already. 20, when you say lots, you mean everything, right?
20, lots that are built.
Right. 22, 28, was that what it was?
There's 2,800.
The average
2228.
800 homes. But,
1420.
again, the math is. My head.
Okay, so there's 2,228 lots that are buildable, okay?
Billable
Billable.
in the all-in.
Billable,
model.
buildable, whatever.
In the all-in model.
Out of 2228 at $75 across the board, that's $2,005,000. Currently, we're getting about 2,228, somewhere around there, 2,000 people, lots, billables coming in, but the price schedule is like 25 different price points on there. So for you, you're paying $400 a year, correct? Then at 900, so that's a difference of 500 people or $500. Let's ballpark that times 2228. That's 1.14. Yeah, 1.14 million plus the amount of money for the other 400 comes up to $2,005,000. If you take all 2228 in that formula. But here's the thing I want people to understand too. Over the years, the Raintree budget was budgeted for every frickin' penny to be spent. There was no savings, at least not while I've been out here. There's been no savings plan out here. So you can't build a budget off of the amount of assessments you think you're going to take in. That's why they got into trouble. They take a budget and they say, okay, that's $600,000. Oh my God, we got this road that we didn't anticipate, that we only put $15,000 in a road or a lake or water treatment. That's why the culverts and coves are in the shape they're in. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do, is take a strategic approach. 2.3 million doesn't spend 2.3 million. We're going to get the lakes part of it, try to get that done in at least 5-year plan. If it's a 5-year plan, it might be a couple $100,000 a year, which then allows us to put more money towards the roads. But we can't take $2.3 million in and then say, okay, we're gonna fix every road in here that gets us 2.3 million minus $200,000 for the lakes. Then you don't get paid, the office don't get paid, the lights don't come on. So we are working to give you $2.3 million in a bank account with the assumption that not everybody's gonna pay the 80-20 rule. And we're gonna try to do and leave at least 10% of that back for the future of our crisis or anything. That also gives us the ability to fund the ICF fund. So it's a plus, whether you do 75 for everybody or 150 to 50, I don't care how it's done. Just get some money coming in here.
I think we need to make it really simple for people. The KISS method. And let's just do like 3 or 4 lines on a spreadsheet. Here's the money that we need. And here's what we're gonna bring in different plans. If you want to take 40 years to build your roads, that's what it's gonna take. But just make it simple, about 3 or 4 lines.
I would say that if you use visuals, okay, that is the most powerful way to
Absolutely.
communicate. You could do an overlay, for example, of rain tree, and you could say, is this, okay, here are all the colors that are lot owners. You can then do another color, these are the homeowners, and then you could show and say, here are all the payments, people that pay. I mean, not any names or anything associated with that, but you could just say, here's the revenue stream, okay? If we do this, the pain point for the lot owners, okay, at what point are they gonna say enough? And then they will abandon that, that's lost revenue. We have to know what that pain point is, because
Do we do a survey? Do we do a?
they've got it, you know, the vast majority.
I think the survey would be easier.
But let me explain one thing that just came to my mind. 70 people show up the first night, 40 people the next day, everybody but 4 or 5 people here. So we got about 15 people that show up. We're just under the average of what people show up to vote on. So if you people are for the 150, let's go. Because the 22, 28, 2,100 of them aren't showing up and speaking their mind, or they might be speaking their mind on somebody's Facebook page or next door. FYI, I did not delete Tim Rourke's message on the Facebook. I didn't even see it to delete it. I sent him a message and said I would not violate your First Amendment right. So whoever reads it, I did not delete it. The admins don't even have access to delete it. So you can hide it from your own self, but you cannot delete it. Pardon me? Oh, well, somebody by the initials of D, couple letters, W, deleted it, is what I was told. I didn't either. I didn't read it. Yes, sir. Hearing me a lot, haven't you?
Nothing's gonna happen here until you guys reach a happy point of what we are willing to pay as a homeowner. How much is that number? I'm not for $150 a month. I can afford it, but I'm not for it. Okay? But I would be happy to pay 100 and it gives you a 5% increase each year or something like that.
Can I stop you right there just for a second? Why?
Why? Because I don't know where my money is going.
We're telling you where it's going.
You're telling me you're not showing me.
Well, I can't show you till we spend it.
You got all these roads that need to be repaired. Show me the roads you want to repair, give us a problem with how much it's gonna cost. Each time.
What was
you're
it,
gonna do
Denny?
that per year. Then you budget that amount of money out of this money you're getting. I mean, what percentage of our money goes to road repair in the present budget?
Probably about 20, 25%, only because we're not doing any roads right now. Not that much.
Not at the present one, no.
This has happened over a long period of time to these roads. It's not gonna be fixed overnight.
No, but that Denny and whoever's on the roads committee, which we are always asking for volunteers to do that, has a list of roads. So if we were to get $2.3 million next year, we would,
You gotta get people like me to believe in what you do.
that's what he has got on paper right here.
Is I'm not willing to give you this big chunk of money all at one time. Yeah, I can afford it, $150 a month, not gonna hurt me. But I've talked to my neighbors about it, that are on, Social Security. One guy's retired living on a pension. They're not gonna vote for this. So you have to come up with a number that all of us will be willing to vote for.
That's impossible to find out when only under 300 people vote and we can only get 100 people to these meetings.
My really, talking to neighbors and whatnot, $150 is not gonna get you any money.
Well, I disagree if the people pay, but I could be on a fixed income come Wednesday. That's why Linda and Laura and the whole team is doing all these town halls and getting the word out there and then information gathering.
From 365 a year to 1,800. It's just not gonna happen.
Well, I'm fine with that answer, but bring me a different resolution.
It's not our job. It's your job. We tell you how much you're willing to pay, what are you gonna use that money for?
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you respectfully. We had months on end, anybody could submit a ballot item that they wanted. We discussed all of them for hours at end in a board meeting open to the public. We had a few different alternatives out there.
You
But-
got 25
but-
people here tonight. That's it.
I got it. But you know what?
When it comes time to vote, how many people vote? 600?
Not even.
Under 300.
299 people voted.
I'm just telling you from what I've been talking to neighbors and from my experience, $150 a month is gonna kill people. They're not gonna vote for it.
I add just my 2 cents.
Sure.
I've talked to my neighbors and several of them are on fixed incomes and they're all for $150 a month. Yeah, so for the neighbors you're talking to, some of us can counter with the neighbors that we've been talking to.
Pretty general.
So
I mean, in reality,
The town hall, I was the one in favor. 3 other people at my table wrote never in capital letters. I just kind of saw it out of peripheral. Like never.
And looking at the surveys and the people that have filled out the surveys, one of the questions we asked is if this was on the ballot and you had to vote today, would you vote for it or would you vote no? And 26 said yes, 25 said no. So.
I mean, aren't we all on a fixed income, honestly?
Some degree, yes. A fixed income could be, you
$1
could,
million a year or $50 a week? Joe, you got something to say?
You're 25 to 30 years, and you're up to 150 after 4 years. I don't know if that'll work, but
It's the first thing that anybody's brought to us.
it's gonna work as long as we get it passed and we get one month.
Tom?
I don't know how you do it, but to get the information, all the people, showing them what our needs are, what the amount needs to be, and then what it will look like, the transparency. Right, that's what I hear all the time, which is, that's a lot of money, I know we need to spend it, I know the POA needs it to fix everything, but transparency. So
Well,
I'm just addressing just the thought of the advertising.
I've been kind of brainstorming, being communications, that if we could have a one-page flyer that could explain our needs, what it would cost to have these things done, and the different scenarios of 150, and what it would cost and what we would bring in. And I could get volunteers to put things in people's mailboxes, but can you do that? Can you legally could we legally put a flyer? We can't. We have to mail it.
It's got a door.
It has to be on the door.
There's so many people.
Can't do that either. So no solicitation policy.
Unless it's.
Well, unless it's a, so I mean.
So I think what you're saying, rather than transparency, you mean an illustration. People need an illustration that shows.
Well, he was talking about, okay, you got so much for road, and this is the whole thing. You know, I mean, it's not very complicated. I can, we love it. But, there's, you know, the people that right now are the most vocal against it are the ones that got us in this situation. Begin with all the lawsuits against California. You're not gonna get there yet, but there's people on the edge. And I think there's a lot of people.
That's what Linda and Laura and Joe and Mike and Randy and
Valley illustration. Sorry, but yeah. Super.
should we start making bullet items on the board here?
What they do is, yeah, we're talking about this communication campaign. So here's what you can do. You could do a postcard, right? You could have a nice colorful postcard with a link to all this information on the web, okay? You can have a PowerPoint presentation with interactive elements on it. You have to have, if you're trying to sell this, you really have to overcome the obstacles. Dave did a great job saying, okay, here are the obstacles. Okay, she's gonna have that data. And you have to speak to that, and you have to serve it up to them and say, you really want to know about that. And then you have to promote it and say, look, deliver that in the mailbox. They're gonna look at it and go, oh, wow. And then if you want to know more, go to the site. That is the most efficient, cost-effective way of taking this complicated thing and getting people to respond. Then you can get the analytics from who went there, right? You can just say, how successful is it?
I don't disagree with you, the marketing piece of it. We just can't get people to open their mailbox or read it once they get it. I mean, we got,
If we get 50% of the people opening up their email from them.
that's only 1,200 right now, right?
Yeah, might have to be.
Have ambassadors, street ambassadors, and you say, would you mind going your street, okay? And you take that side and I'll take this side. And maybe doorbell, maybe, no. Here, but you gotta have something where they can go to the site and, you know, have some of this complicated stuff delivered in a visually easy to understand manner. Alternate options, 150 is one option, 75 is one option. And what happens if we don't do anything? Pros and cons, all the ugly truth, right there. You don't trust us? What do we have to do to earn trust? Can we have an oversight committee of residents that will check the books and audit the money that's collected and that it's being spent? How about that? Yes, a committee that oversees by residents. Would that take care of that problem? No.
For those that did attend the town hall or seeing the Facebook post, does having the information of this pole cost this much money to fix, is that helpful? Is that an awareness?
Almost too detailed, because it doesn't add up to the budget.
No, I'm talking, you know what
Well, I
I'm
mean, that was, I mean, to me, it was impactful, but
the pictures of the road.
yeah, I thought it was impactful, but I thought people need to know, if we bring in 1 million and we already spend 1 million, where we can't fix one, block of road, we have no money left. I think it should be just very simple, no details.
I guess my question is, was anybody shocked to see that this piece of thing costs $30,000 to fix?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you, that's.
and a 65% increase in asphalt. impactful.
And we need a validated source. So that's the other thing. You know, anybody can make a statement. And so who said that was $80,000 to repair?
They got bids on it.
Okay.
We've had repairs on them, the bids.
Right.
So,
RFP, we just sent out 3 RFPs.
yes, we did.
On the website, people can read the RFP. Because nobody will look at the website and read it. That's not true. I know lots of people.
There's a ton of people that don't check the website.
Well, facts are our friends and they will shut people up and say, you know what? Have you read the RFP? No. Well, then go read it and then come back with the criticisms. That is how you gotta shut that stuff.
I don't disagree with that, and it's not that we produce these RFPs for everything we do. We pick one of the most likely, usually it's been the most cheapest, which is also the cheapest, but now here lately it isn't. So we're trying to do strategic things for the subdivision. But the biggest thing that I hear over the years since I've been on the board is you need to do this, you need to do an audit, you need to do this, you need to do that. And everybody's got these grand scheme. I'll open every page of QuickBooks and the finances. John and I will meet with anybody that wants to look at them. We are not hiding a penny. But my point is, everything that everybody wants done cost money to do. And we're trying to save money, not to spend money to get to the same, end zone. And I'm not picking on anybody for that, but we've got to come up with a better way to, if it's the education, if it's the website, the RFPs, I mean, once they're chosen, that's fine. We don't have any problem with it. We just can't release that information until it's finalized, because then Joe Blow down the street with a lawnmower in the back of his truck's gonna come in here and try to cut the grass for $1 a day.
Not everything. Just say, this is our process. And then you remove all of the identifiable information. You know, just say contractor A did this, contractor B, contractor C. And force the people in this community to read this and to say, read this information, get familiar with this, this is why we made this decision. This is how they were vetted. And
Okay, so what if that happens and we put that on the website and Tannel and Dollars asphalt company down the street says, oh, they're doing it for 230,000. I'll do it for 229,000. Then that's a violation of the RFP. It doesn't matter. You're finding out their prices.
I mean, if you go to any government association, when they do RFPs, they have to post that.
No, not until after one has been chosen. I've been involved in many of them in construction and requests for.
I think.
What I'm saying, Sheldon, make a login page, okay? Make it somehow or another, Dave, to where you're forcing information through the pipe to say, have you read that? Do you understand that? Here's the key qualifications of the people on the committee. Wow, I mean, there's got to be more, like, here are the people that are taking their time. Here's the qualifications, I'm just gonna say, if you're doing things and just saying, hey, we can't, we have time for that, then people are gonna say, well, I don't see it, and I don't know it, I'm not voting for it.
I'm all for suggestions that we can do, but we can't exploit an RFP, publicly until it's been chosen. It's, we send it out to 10 or 15 companies. They got the option to give.
Say, here's the specs, and it's supposed to work.
Right.
We had 3 vendors, and of those, we chose this one. For these reasons, and we can share that.
After it's been chosen.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Let's move on and we'll do,
We make a motion just to table this.
Yeah.
Until next month.
well, we don't
Next
have,
month, and if somebody has something that they wanna propose, money wise.
Joe, if you wanna get me that information, we'll consider it with the attorney, and Linda and them can put it out for the town halls. All right, any other unfinished business? All right, new business, out of cycle motion for road repairs. We made a motion and it was unanimous approval to spend 74,000 and change on road repairs that Denny had presented to us. I think that was it, wasn't it? All right, next. Motion to approve 2,400 bid to replace 4 gate loops. I don't think that was out of, well, that's new, right?
Yeah, it is new. And what I've learned is that the new gates, get relatively good feedback, but they keep coming down on cars or trucks, and that's what knocks them off. So we gotta just enhance the loops that will not allow them to come down on cars. Will save us a lot of time.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the bid for 2,400 to replace 4 gate loops. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor of spending 2,400 to replace the 4 gate loops signify with an aye. All opposed? Unanimous approval. Okay, any other new business? What's this?
These are the changes that have to go in for the powerhouse and all assessment.
Tonight?
And we'll do it. You got it right there. Oh, I can do it. You want?
Hang on. Oh, okay. For the all-in ballot assessment, and we can read the motion after we'll do the motion and then we'll discuss it. But with the all-in ballot item, John and I spent about an hour, hour and a half going over all the other covenants where the all-in assessment touches other areas of the bylaws and the covenants. So we went through it, highlighted it. John actually cleaned it up for print tonight, and let me make the motion of adjusting the remainder covenant items addressed tonight to go coincide with the all-in ballot. Is there a second?
One second.
Any discussion? John? Oh, you want me to do it?
No, I can do it. So what you have on this page looks like this. Wherever you.
FYI, let's preface this. FYI, this isn't changing the all-in assessment at all. It's just changing the verbiage, as in one part said annual, so we changed it to monthly and things of that nature. So he's got it all marked up in here. You can follow that. It's not changing the dynamic of the ballot.
So there's some new ones that have to add covenant 3A, section 3I. It refers to an annual assessment. We need to change it to monthly. It's the strike through and the word next to it. 3F. 3F is the new layout of 3F, but wherever you see annually crossed off and monthly added to it, that is the change within 3F. The other changes other than that remain the same. We also changed July to the 1st of each month for the billing, and then 3G for special assessments also had annual in it. So those changes are tied to it, whatever we do with the all-in assessment.
This also gets changed.
And these would also, it's not a separate vote. If the assessment change passes, these go in. If the assessment fails, these don't go in and they stand alone.
Why is that July 1st, 2001 due there?
That's when the assessments were, or the annual assessments were due.
Right, so if this passes, would that be retrospective and we could collect back to July 1st, 2001?
That's when it'll start.
Well, that's been in there forever. I questioned that when you and I were looking at it, and it kind of.
I think it refers to, that's when these assessments that are stricken out were put into effect and then changed and added to it over the course of time. So
Well, it says a dollar effective July 1st, 22.
those were the subsequent changes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the board says.
I mean, we could take the No, he's talking about the July 1st, 2001.
Yeah, I
can't-
so Greg had it just struck me as weird.
And we can take it out of there.
Yeah, I
Or updated.
questioned that when we went through this and I thought, do we even need that? But that was from the original.
Everybody thinks take it out.
No, I would update it to what the new effective date. Yeah, update.
July 1st, 2024. Oh, no, 25.
2025. Okay. So that's all it was. We use technology to go through the covenants and the bylaws to find a whole bunch of different words that might come back to trip us up with this. So
Any other discussion?
those will get attached to whatever ballot item 5 ends up being.
The truth.
If it gets right at the top.
Any, no other discussion? All in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes.
All right.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, in your package, you have the balance sheet, as well as the profit and loss statement, from that. They don't have a copy of it. They're in the lobby on it. Our cash assets, let me make a clarifying statement. This balance sheet is preliminary. There are 2 changes that need to be made. One is to the primary checking account balance. It's overstated, and on the profit and loss statement, the security amount is overstated. So we will get updated statements out for those. The bank balance is 200, the primary checking actual balance is $200,008. And the excess checking account, which is 332,000. That one is correct. So I will get updated statements out. The rest of the statements for balance sheet and P and L are okay. Somebody asked me if I would do this when I go through cash assets. They are on the balance sheet. We have one line that is account number 1010.1 primary checking. And we have a little bit further down, account 1050 labeled Midwest excess checking. On that, the special security assessment, this one did come down this month with the gate arms that were purchased along with the 2 gate towers. So you'll see that's 1021 on the balance sheet. That's 19,677 now. We also have further down where is it at here? 1010.8 on the balance sheet is the lake dredging fund. The 1050.1 capital improvement, that's actually reserves of 105,709. And then 1010.9 is the ICF fund, which is 291,195. That makes up what we have in the bank balances. So whether you understand accrual-based accounting or not, that's truly what's in the bank as of the end of April. So if you think that we're sitting on $550,000, we're not. That money has to last us through July when we get the next year's assessment collections that'll start to come in. Against that money, we owe $26,000 for an insurance payment that hasn't come through yet. We owe $74,000 for the road repairs we just approved. We also have pending the, what are we gonna do with the bio dredging for the lakes? That hasn't been paid yet. We have not paid all of the lake treatments. That's paid month to month yet. We also get, if there's anything further Glenn's gonna do or propose to security for the year, that's what that money was there for. We also have to fund the ICF as well as the lake dredging out of this. So that money is there to get us to the next assessment period, and is also has, because we're talking about the April financials, we got the whole month of May's bills that got paid out. We're gonna have the whole month of July's bills paid out. So this is just a picture in time. It does not mean that, oh, the POA is sitting on $500,000. It's like, no, we're not. It's just we collect in starting in June, July, August. July is when we get access to the money in the accrual-based accounting world. And so you have the expenses to roll back against them. I will state this, talked with Glenn, talked with Kent, is there's gonna come a cut point that if we don't have any more decisions about what are we gonna do with security or lakes, then we're gonna do more roads. All right, because roads has stuff that more than what we've done that's ready to go, but this year we all decided in doing the budget that we were gonna invest in security and lakes. And, you know, we still found the money to do some of the roads, but, you know, so we're waiting on that, but, you know, I think, I don't want to steal Kent's thunder, but as an example, if we do the two smallest lakes with the bio dredging, you're looking at all in with all the expenses that aren't in the one part, because there's extra steps. You're looking at over $100,000 bill for that. So that's why we did what we did this year. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen yet or not, but Kent will talk more about that. So again, this cash is cash on hand. That's to fund this stuff that we talked about that we're still trying to get the quotes and bids on. For the month of April, we had $9,600 or $9,866 in assessment related payments collected. City's fee for that was $113.47. $42,568 of bills were paid through city and village for the month. Then we have $4,927 in the escrow account. At the end of April, we still had 234,000 delinquent owners, representing
234, not 234,000.
231,409. So the numbers are close, that are owed to Raintree. So it's 234 delinquent, 231,409 is the dollars that are owed for those delinquent accounts. The next page you have is the monthly check report. It's two-sided. Page one of it is bills that get paid out through our account directly. The back page at the bottom are the disbursements through city and village. Going through the bills for the month, I didn't recognize, you know, anything out of the ordinary. I mean, a big payment is the lake treatment, $10,319. We did have a large credit card bill. Part of that was the payment to Clean Flow for the lake mapping that we approved, and we also check 3439 on page one. We had to replace the air conditioning here, so it needed to be picked up on a given day. So Dave actually paid for it, picked it up, brought it back here, and that's his reimbursement for what he paid. To that, on the backside, AmTrust Financial, that is one of the insurance payments that we paid out. Travelers is an insurance payment. Automatic gate and door, $10,794. That was the gate towers and the gate arms and their installation. All the people, or almost all the people on here that have 125, 250, or $2,000, those were ACC refunds that they were due. And that we had the Nemo bait was the grass carps that were paid to put in. So that's pretty much the summary of the bills. For anybody that wants to know where the money is spent, that report was given at the board meeting. It's in the lobby. I'm going to check to see if we could put it out on the website as well under the financial reports, but this tells everybody every single month exactly where the money was spent. So there isn't anything that's tricked up, hidden, or anything else anywhere. This is the document that answers those questions.
And before anybody thinks I got paid $23.95.41 for being on the board, that was for a reimbursement of an AC unit. And if you see or know, or just want to drop a line to Chris Stephens. He is installing a new AC unit in this building for free. And I also got his discount on that, which dropped at about $800. So thanks to Chris for his.
That's awesome. Any questions on the financial?
No, then I will make a motion to approve the finance or the treasurer's report and presentation of bills. Any discussion? Well done, John. All in favor signify with an eye. All opposed? All right. Communications and correspondence with the busy beaver over here.
Hi, just emails, I had 9 emails, one that stood out, I'm sure Kent knows about the muskrat. In autumn and spring lake, I had 2 emails on that, but for the most part, just informative, asking questions. Our MailChimp, we're up 14 subscribers. So we have 1,148 subscribers, so we're up 14. The website updates and posts we send through MailChimp is uploaded on the website. So anything that we go through that is on MailChimp through the e-letter or your email is also posted on the website. So we're doing that. We have a new category added. We have a town hall. You go to news and you click on news, and then there's a category that has town halls, and that's where we're putting all the information for all the town halls and the recordings and all that when we have that. We have a QR. So what this means, if you are here and you need to get your stickers and there's a line, you just click on your phone and it takes you right to the forms, and you can start filling your boat sticker, auto sticker, whatever sticker you need, form out ahead of time. That will help Haley. And if you have documents that you can upload, you know how to do all that to your phone, you can do that. That'd be even better. But if not, Haley will stand there with a smile on her face and will.
Can I see a QR code?
Yeah.
I would like to try it. Is this what we do? We just.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Wrong
You gotta take a
side?
picture. You gotta take a picture.
Oh, it's upside down.
No.
Oh, good luck, Haley.
Hey, you work in IT?
We do have directions, don't we? Like you click on it or whatever.
Bring a phone with a camera.
Yeah, bring a phone with a camera. So you can fill that out and after talking with Haley, she says she's, once she has the forms and everything, she has to make sure you're in good standing, all that. Give her no more than 48 hours. She can have you have an email that will say your stickers are ready. Preferably if you do these online at your computer or at home, then you'll get an email from her saying that your stickers are ready to be picked up and paid for. So that's been a good thing. I have some shout outs. The garage sale was a huge success. Anybody that was involved in that. Thank you to Julie Schaefer for organizing, to Becky Maxwell, Nancy Gall, and other volunteers that made it a success. They donated $440 to the Hillsborough Food Pantry, which is a great event for entry for our community. Hanlon and the crew for beautifying Ridgecrest. Oh, she's gone. And Forest Drive, Jesse Hewitt and his company Lifetime Concrete. Without Jesse's equipment and drum back, we would still be working on, she said. He hauled the materials, moved the boulders, and excavated and laid the large pavers. So shout out to Jesse. Also, if there's any residents who have zoysia grass and would want to donate some little pieces of zoysia grass, they could use it to fill in. You can contact me, Secretary at Raintree POA. And then the last thing I have is that there was a question about the easements around the lakes. I had an email about that. And basically what I'm going to do is just give you information. You can spread this information. I'm going to get it on the website or in the Roundtree, but it says, what is POA property and what is private property around the lakes? Per the covenants, there is a POA easement. It varies by lot. So the plot survey should tell you what that is. So you can't just say it's 15 feet from lake because every lot is different. Can people stop on private docks around the lake to fish? No, the seawall, dock, boathouse, boats, patios are all private property of the owner. Can people stop on private docks to party, hang out, use property lot owners, things are loiter? And no, you cannot do that because it's private property. Who is responsible for injury on private dock? And it's basically the homeowner. Who is responsible for damage and upkeep to private docks? That's again on the homeowner. There is a map that you can get. Davey sent that to me. Where did we get, is that from the POA or is that from the county? The pathways,
Yes, you can get it off the GIS.
you can get it off GIS, the pathways, and it will tell you, where people can walk, but basically, please,
One's called the park and another section is called the playground.
Oh, is it really? One's park and playground, and the deed owner was given permission, okay, this is basically, the deed owner was given permission to build their personal belongings as listed above on the POA property, so, that easement is POA property, but when you build, you are given permission to, build there. The owner, they own the belongings, the liability on those belongings, even though it's POA property. Make sense? So I think there were some issues with people, children going and thinking that they can hang out at somebody's boat dock, boat slip, they can't. Now you can walk through, and I've had kids ask, would you mind if we fish off the dock? Or, sure, I don't have a problem with that, just don't go through my stuff. But I think there were kids thinking, this is the easement, we can walk through and we can stay here and fish and do whatever, and no, they can't. Right? That's how we took it as. Okay. They can use the easement as a way to get to the access points and then fish off those access points. They should not be stopping, looking in, or loitering people's personal docks. Or does it say that that was just like not that part, that's just kind of a summary?
I don't know. I thought it was all right, fish seawall.
It's private property.
I know what you said.
You have to
gotta
be
keep moving.
continuous.
You can walk through,
You can fish if you want.
fish and walk, fish and walk, fish and walk.
Yeah. Well, Joe, what you're gonna run into is several of these people's private property crosses that easement into their own property. So unless you could jump over a 12-foot boat slip with a boat in it, there's no way for you to walk without going on their private property. So, it really is that you could go down and you could fish, but you can't stand still. So I don't see too many fishermen walking and casting and that, but so for the most part, they gotta go in this 17 access points to get down to the lake. Because otherwise, you can't keep moving unless you're gonna go back and forth like this, because I've not seen anybody that could jump, a boathouse and a boat and a 12-foot boat slip without then going on the private property. And if they go on the private property, then they could be in trouble for doing that. So, while in theory, yes, they could walk around the easement of the lake, in reality, there's no pathway for them to continue moving around it.
And honestly, I see everybody fishing on the dam or in areas like that. Why even bother people if you got so many areas that you can fish in without complaints? Yeah. All right, thank you, Tilly. Standing committee reports, administration report.
I have, we had 172 auto stickers, 126 boat, 100 golf carts, 99 hang tags, 6 jet skis, and 6 non-motorized boat stickers that they did for the month of April. They're scanning property owners into River, assisting board members as needed, reserving pavilion and campgrounds. Hey, Wendy, I have a question. Do we have a lot of reservations on the campgrounds? Because somebody was asking me, do they fill up pretty quick or no? Just the holiday weekends, but in between. Okay. And assisting realtors with security access, showing their properties. I'm done.
Thank you. Lakes and beaches.
I'll try to make this brief.
Okay, next,
We had an outstanding presentation from Mike Cook, who's in the Jefferson County Stormwater Management Division. May the 6th. If you haven't seen it, please look at the YouTube video. It's just as good as the Clean Flow one, which came out on February 22nd. End of the day, we need a regional watershed evaluation. It doesn't do any good to dredge the lakes or try to get rid of the muck if we don't stop more muck or more organic and inorganic material entering the lake. Clean Flow's recommendations. Last week I got invited to visit some of the Clean Flow representatives at Indian Lake and see the process working. Talk to the not only Clean Flow representatives, but the people at Indian Lake who started. I learned a lot. We still have quite a bit of work to do before we can make a decision on that. The Department of Conservation came out on Thursday. They did a cursory exam of all of our lakes, said they're going to shock Autumn Lake. I don't know when. They got to do all the public lakes first, and then they'll try to get to the private lakes, but they hope to do it later this year. The rent station, we're having a design brought up, but it was brought to my attention that there is a significant amount of erosion at the beach where we talked about the rent station going if we have a simple pump one. And I think we need to address that because if we put a rent station in there, we're gonna create ourselves some huge problems. So we'll look at that. We don't have Tom is planning to do the sand beach. The beach sand very soon, but doesn't make any sense to put the sand down and then have it washed into the lake by the rain. And we just keep getting rain. He'll get it figured out. Food trucks. Tim Fulkerson has taken over the food truck scheduling and has contacted several companies, which apparently have called him back. And we're still waiting for a decision from Four Lakes if they're going to be able to provide. They'll be able to provide us food. It's just getting it there. Muskrats, you all know that there's been muskrat sightings. I've had 6 different contacts. We previously had a gentleman, Tim Reed, who nobody can find him, who had a maintenance contract with us. He would come out once a month, inspect, and when he found evidence of muskrats, he would trap them. But I haven't been able to find him. I've talked to 6 different places that do this. Some of them don't come to this area. Some of them, a maintenance program would be like $21,000 a year. There's some other people say, oh, my grandfather would do that, but of course they don't have liability insurance, et cetera. So we're trying to find the right match. There was a guy who's supposed to come today, but he's going to come Wednesday. Aquatic Control usually treats on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday, so hopefully tomorrow we'll see him again. They haven't put anything in our chemicals to prohibit you from swimming or watering your grass, et cetera. Lastly, the porta potty, the additional porta potty has been delivered, and I'm working with Steve about maybe maintaining it through if we can do it for the same money, just keep it there versus have them pick it up, redeliver it, pick it up, et cetera. I'm working with them.
Tim, we'll go through you before any decisions are made on the food trucks.
Committee.
Perfect. Thank you, Kent. Maintenance department. All right, bad storm on 5/8/2024, cleared debris, washed into ditches and culverts from heavy rains, removed trees and limbs down on the roads from high winds and hail. Cutting grass when weather and workload permits, trim back tree limbs overhanging the roads and causing the line of sight issues. Made repairs to the center island irrigation system and opened it up for the summer. Please remember that dumping grass and shrub cuttings into our ditches is a rules violation and very harmful to the function of the ditches. We are still searching for the short timer Tom out there, replacement when he retires. So we thought we might try John Kozel, so we threw it to him, and whew, it's expensive to cut grass. I will say that I heard a lot of people complaining about the water rushing their rocks and yards and whatnot all over the place. I can only inform you that all up and down 21 and Lindbergh and Lee May Ferry did the same thing to their yards too. So we're not oblivious to the weather. May roads report.
Watch the YouTube video from the guy from May 6th on stormwater, and you'll learn a lot. I learned a ton that day.
It's not up yet, by the way.
Okay, when it gets available, you'll learn a ton. I mean, we as humans do things that facilitate sedimentation of our lakes. That none of us have probably ever even thought of it before, and we need to change that.
All right, the May roads report, as you heard earlier, we had approved, to fix, we need to get, some work done on Spring and Autumn Lake dams, which are necessary for the DNR certification. We're also gonna fix the collapsed pipe on, Duffer, just caused some property damage to an owner, section of Elm, section of Forest, section of Whipperpool, section of Sunrise. In total, the bid, we chose to go with Altoff. They had, I think, the most solid, structural bid as far as what they're gonna do to the road, so the repairs should last. Altoff actually fixes a lot of the road cuts in here, and they seem to be the best one that actually does them. They actually had the best price point for us as well this time around. We anticipate that work's gonna happen in August, right? Roughly August, and again, it was $74,234. Everybody knows the funding and infrastructure issues that we have. Fixing just again, not even fixing the road, just the strip and repave 1 mile of road on whatever was under it. It's $235,000 last fall. I'm not exactly sure what one is today, if it jumped price wise again or not, but we'll see where that all turns, so.
Thanks, Jeff.
Danny, anything to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add something. First of all, I hope everybody doesn't believe what they do to next door. Facebook about the roads and the EPA funding and all that kind of stuff. There's those people are so far out in left field, they're not even qualified. That's all there is to it. There's Dennis Alexander was at that meeting last Wednesday, and he said that there are a lot of roads that do not need to be worked on. And he was correct. I drove around and made a list of the roads. These are roads that we worked on from 2016 to 2021. These roads are still in very good shape. Lake Hill, Bent Tree, Easy Street, Dewdrop, East Vista, West Vista, Jerry's Point, Jackson, Grant Court, Peachtree, Parkview, Acorn, Dawnview Court, Jean Marie, Katie's Way, Bon Ron. You drive down some of these streets, they're 8 years old now, and they're still in very good shape. However, if we don't do something to get some more money flowing towards the roads, 6 or 7 or 8 years down the road, these are gonna have to all be done again. These asphalt roads only last, what, 10, 15 years tops?
15 if they're done right.
13 to 15. I mean, if they're done well with the base properly underneath it, you could get longer, but the other thing is when Lee's talking about with those roads, nothing's been done to them in 8 years either. So there's been no
Ceiling.
wherever there's no ceiling, there's no crack filling. Nothing's been done to them. So, they are not gonna last, like Benny said, you get another 6, 7 years down the road, don't touch them, they have to be redone. So
Now, I also listed some roads here that are needing total replacement. Forest Drive is one of them. I had a bid on that in 2018. It was $244,000. Since then, picked up another 65% on top of that. It's over 1.2 miles over there. Lake Ridge, Ridgecrest, Cedar, Richmond, Sumter, Atlanta, Sassafras, part of Magnolia, and Eagles Nest. These things all need to be totally replaced. Some of them haven't been touched in 30 years. So we're way behind, folks. Got to do something.
Thanks, Denny.
Thank you.
That's the rules committee updates.
Well, it was the start of a fun month, let me tell you. So last month wasn't too bad. This month, 46 censures / complaints were made. Since the last board meeting, another eyesore, unlicensed vehicle in the yard, an expired golf cart sticker, 2 tape stickers not fully affixed, 5 unidentifiable vehicles with no sticker or an orange and white tag that wasn't able to be found, 7 expired hang tags, and 26 expired vehicle or trailer stickers. It's a lot. Some people admitted that they didn't know that the green stickers were due as of April 1st. So just because it's our second year of doing it, so far I have given out warnings, or, well, not necessarily warnings. I've told them if they, as long as they get their sticker, send in the pictures that it's been attached to the same vehicle or trailer. For the most part, we would just consider it a warning, because for the most part, we want them to have the vehicle stickers or the hang tags. We want some kind of identification anyways. The censure for it is $150. It's a lot. But if you get a boat sticker, that's $100. You get a vehicle sticker because you have to park down at the boat dock, that's $125. So technically the $150 is not that terrible, because if you're getting both of those anyways, it's an extra 25 on top of it. So as long as you get the stickers, I mean, I haven't decided when I'm gonna stop with the warnings, because by now it should already be known. We sent out emails. It's been on Facebook. I don't know how many times people have complained about the stickers. I don't know where else to go from here with it.
Good call.
So, but you know, my committee loves money, so I just like to throw that part out there. Another thing that was brought up was the kid on the green golf cart. It's about to be that time where we're having issues with teens that are going to be bored, kids out doing stupid things. I haven't talked to Glenwood about this yet. But like we did last year, I would like to be able to post pictures of kids either from the gates if they're doing something stupid, or vehicles that are running the gate, like usually happens during the summer. And also if people have pictures of kids that are vandalizing their house, if they don't want to post them, I was wondering if it was possible if we could post it. Because last year was terrible with the girl gang issue. And with us posting those pictures, I ended up getting a lot of feedback from other parents that knew the girls, or they knew somebody that would know of them. And I feel like that was the best thing that we could have done. Granted, we couldn't find the person specifically that we could financially make responsible for it because of some other situations, but at this point, I feel like that's gonna be our best bet. I know people talk about cameras, but
Legality of that, in the sense that you're posting somebody's picture. What if you falsely accuse someone?
don't have to falsely accuse. We can post the picture and say, if you know who this is, have any information about it, contact the secretary or contact rules. That way, we're not technically accusing anybody. We can reach out to the parents and say, is this your kid? Some people have their Facebook profiles open, so you can compare kids' pictures too, and like, no, that's your kid. You should have been a lot more knowing of where your kid was at 1 o'clock in the morning. I would prefer it to be.
Me too.
Anybody else can always share it from there or take a screenshot of it and post it to the Facebook groups. That's usually how it ends up happening anyway. So
So where would we put it? Like news?
we could even put it in an email like we did last year.
Oh, like MailChimp?
We MailChimped it. and
Put a title on there, person of interest.
I don't think we put
Could
it.
do that
on,
too.
I don't think we put them on Facebook. I think we put them on, sent it via MailChimp, and, you remember we put them on Facebook?
I don't think we did. I think actually somebody screenshot it and put it to Facebook.
Just Google that, might want to look at it before you make a decision.
Yeah. That might be something. I'm just thinking as a parent, if somebody puts my kid's face out there.
But when you see something on the news, if it's a minor, they're always blocked out.
Yeah, no, this is exactly.
Yeah.
Just brought to our
Yeah,
attention.
minor.
Probably not a great idea.
Except that's what we did last year.
We thought you were 18.
Yeah, we don't know how old you were. They look like they were 18.
18 somewhere, someday.
Then the parents go, well, yeah, like 13.
I mean, is it any different than somebody randomly posting, hey, this kid was on my porch?
I could be us. That's different.
Right.
Yeah, because we are governing by our body or something.
Something.
So then in that
I
aspect,
think you make a
cameras aren't gonna
committee for
help.
that.
I love the idea.
But in that aspect, that means that added cameras isn't gonna help us at all, because we're not gonna be able to do anything with the pictures, we're not gonna be able to post them anywhere. It's. How far did that get anywhere else?
Public performances, so like with employees and stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you don't have a right of that privacy on public. And you certainly have no expectation right to privacy on my property. That's what we.
So that was my argument. So the legally,
I'm not giving legal.
of course not, but. But as long as it was on public property, as far as I know, it was okay. If it was private property, it would be up to the discretion of the person that owns
I
it.
think you still use the tag that you're using. You don't use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think that's. But.
Person of interest, if you know.
Person of interest.
So where would we put, tell me. So would it be on the
Just
website?
last year, I know, like we said, we just ended up just using MailChimp.
MailChimp, okay.
No, but I also don't mind it being on
Our
the
website?
website. I don't
Nice
mind it.
big
Let's-
window with some black bars and their picture behind it.
Was it
Talk
orange
about that,
suit?
Julie.
Was
Let's
orange,
talk about
okay,
that.
orange suit.
I don't mind that easily.
Orange jumpsuit, does this fit
We
you?
could use AI for that, actually.
It's under, I think until we MailChimp and put it on the website.
MailChimp, put it in on the website, under news, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
But my whole argument for this was, if you see a kid out doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, like the kid on the golf cart, he's clearly well under 16. Or at least legal driving age, because even at 16, I think, no, you can
Yeah,
drive on your
16.
own. Just take a picture.
Stop by the POA office for your $500 prize.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Desiree.
All right.
Motion, and I will make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we're good.
We have it over under, come on. it's not.
Any discussion? All in favor signify with an eye. All opposed? Motion passes.
I think first.
Right.
Linda, go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, folks.
Right, what's the thing?
I missed your name. I'm Linda and you are Joe. Joe, so when you were saying that, we, for the